G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of the Cod Tales podcast. We have so much to talk about today. We've been on some absolute cracking trips lately, being stung by wasps, and playing old Dr. Cod over here and getting a basketball out of a cod.
Yeah, mate, I jammed trebles in my hand, got stung by wasps and saved a few cods' lives, mate. So I had a cracking week coming up. So
Yeah, and we get to talk about night versus afternoon fishing.
Yep. Why do cod fight hard, or do they?
Yeah, moon phases, sun phases.
Leader lengths.
How good's that? And even the old mysterious freshwater jellyfish.
Yeah, a few sightings around the local dams. So listen in for that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't believe it, but we'll prove you wrong.
So let's get into it.
Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the Cod Tales podcast. I'm Dane.
And I'm Az.
And as you know, we love to sit down, have a couple of beers and just spin yarns. Chat shit.
We're pretty good at it.
We're getting better.
No, I'm not going to say we're good at it. We're average, but
Yeah, we're
we give
average.
it a go.
Yeah. So, mate, we've had a pretty busy last 2 weeks, haven't we?
Mate, I've had probably one of the busiest Februaries I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. Work and fishing, or mate, or
Oh, work's been crazy. Yeah, absolutely insane. Mainly because the river's fishing been so good, so healthy at the moment. And if you go out bait fishing to lure fishing, everyone's getting proper scores.
good fish, yeah. And that's the weird thing. Like now, start of the year, I felt like it was red hot almost every single time you went out.
Yeah.
Now it's coming in like dips and waves. Like
Yeah, exactly.
you get those one day where you smack like 15 fish in a short trip, like a 2-hour trip, and you get 15. You're like, holy moly. And then you go out the next day and you're getting, 5 fish for about the same amount of time.
Yeah, you struggle street. But
Yeah.
yeah, it comes down. Like you've got to look at I'm really impressed with the Macquarie River, especially this right now and this year, due to the fact that Macquarie River Megabucks, the Megabucks, Murray Cod Megabucks
Murray
has been
Cod
running.
Megabucks, yeah.
And I've never seen so many people fish this river ever. And the fishing pressure it's got, and it's just stood up and hit the ball with both hands type of thing. Like it's still fishing well. Like you go to any pressure dam like that, they shut off. But this river has just kept firing and firing.
And that's probably a bit of a pat on the back to all the anglers out there. Most of you guys are doing the right thing. Like everyone's treating the fish well, putting them back in a healthy condition. And that means, people can come back, catch the same fish multiple times, and they're just recovering so much quicker.
Absolutely.
That's the way I think about it. But, yeah, even though there's heaps more people fishing in this area now and along this system, it's still bouncing back unbelievably.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So probably the first trip we can talk about is the one you really got me excited about, talking about coming in waves. You went out on, was it last Saturday morning?
Yeah, last Saturday morning.
Yeah,
Yep.
went out last Saturday morning and he came back he's like, mate, we got to go tomorrow. It's on fire. I was like, oh, righto, let's go.
It was. It made it within 20 minutes of putting the boat on the water, we made it down to where I wanted to start fishing in the stretch of the river we were. And, mate, we had 3 or 4 bites in the first 20 minutes. And then it just, Jared, he ended up with 2 in 2 casts. And it was really on. We're out there for 3 hours. What did we end up boating? I think we boated 10, but it should have been, I know I missed 3, and the boys were dropping fish at the side of the boat, left, right and centre.
Yeah.
And it was just shit, they're really on today. And that's when I said to you, mate, we're doing a Sunday sesh, let's go.
Yeah, so he calls me up and he's just like, mate, we're going to do a drift tomorrow. I'm like, let's go. Gee, was that and that stuff around. But the trip on Saturday morning, he had a few things that went right, a few things that went wrong.
Yeah, you could say that. We've always got blunders.
Yeah, a few blunders. Well, So you went out for 2 hours? 3 hours?
On
the Saturday.
Yeah, like 3 hours tops.
Yeah, and you got what, 10, 12 fish?
Yeah,
something
we
like
boated 10 and dropped.
That's unreal.
Shitloads.
And you had a wee bit of an accident trying to get a lure out, mate.
Yeah.
If you've seen the video on Facebook.
Yeah, so we put this video up on Facebook and I absolutely had a fucking proper blunder. Decided that I was a bigger man than the fish, which was horribly incorrect. So I pushed the old lip grips away and said, nah, don't worry about them. I'll just grab this lure and pin the fish's head.
Mate, use me bare clappers on her.
Yeah, and he let me know about it. So I've grabbed the back of this lure and it just drove every point into my hand.
Straight into the bitch mittens.
Between the thumb and the pointer finger, mate, every single point was down. And I was just like, holy shit, I'm pinned to this fish. So I made sure he didn't flip.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Yeah.
And I said to Jared as quick as I could, I said, mate, get in, grab that with pliers and rip like fuck. So thankfully he didn't chicken out. He actually gave it a red hot crack and he got it first go, which I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, J-Rod, for that. And it was crazy because when the hook come out, like 3 squirts of blood just and I was like, oh shit.
Whoopie doops.
And instantly I just started getting pins and needles and I'm like,
yeah, no.
yeah, no, she's proper going in. And courtesy of the video, Jared spun around and said, this is going on Cod Tales.
Thanks, Jared, for the content. That was fantastic.
So he's filmed me as I've got blood pissing out of my hand and holding back a few tears. No.
No, you were saying that when the hook went in, you could feel it going to a tendon or a muscle or something up your arm.
So the bottom muscle on my thumb was just twitchy as shit when the hook was in there. So I hit something. And it took, I know, like when we did the river drift on the Sunday, it was still tender.
Yeah,
It hurt.
Yeah, you were talking about that, saying, I don't know how I'm going to go today, blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
but the fishing was good.
Yeah.
So, bit the bullet and But, mate, had a crack. And Jared lost a yeller out of the river. It was a cracking yeller.
You said it was like real dark as well.
Oh, it was black as, mate. Yeah,
Did it come off rocks or out of weed or something like that? Or
nah, it come off structure in the middle of the river in the flow and, mate, ate him at the side of the boat. And once he lifted its head and it was flapping around, I was like, that is the darkest yeller I've seen out of the river. And then as quick as I said that, got off.
Yeah. And you called it for what?
I reckon it would have been close to 55. Like it was
That's
proper
yeller out of the river. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, I haven't seen one myself like that for God knows when.
No, I think I've seen maybe one yeller hit a 100 mil Aussie plough, got him in the boat. He went 52 this year. Or young Reese, he got that one. But, yeah, they've been not too bad, yellers, this year. I've got quite a few on, swim baits, orgies, that sort of stuff. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, there was another bit of a blunder on that trip.
Which one was that? Yep.
The flying, stinging kind that I heard.
Oh, fuck. I nearly forgot about it too.
Oh, I wouldn't let you forget.
So this story went from, it's just a standard as trip. So went down, fucked me in right up. Nearly wanted to call
is this
quits.
after you did your handy?
Yeah, so I drove a treble into my hand. 20 minutes later, we're drifting down river, got in a bit of fast current. Old electric was struggling. Like she was purring pretty hard. And Big J-Rod on the back's like, holy fuck, as there's a wasp nest on the end of this stick. I'm going, fuck, I'm in the current. I can't get out. I cannot move anywhere. So I've hit the deck. It was like we were under attack in war, mate. We're in the trenches and I'm on the floor of the boat with my fucking hands over my head. And I'm just like, whoa, fuck, bail down, like, get back. And it was hectic because, and as we've drifted past this stick, or log, I should say, the head of the electrics caught the log.
Oh.
2 inches in front of this wasp nest. So... And poor Nick, he's jumped in for a ride at this stage. So he's just copped full blunder. He's up the front with me.
Yeah.
And I've gone...
Just getting smacked three ways from Sunday.
Yeah, I was like at a Sunday barbecue squatting flies around today. I was trying to swipe my face and not get hit. And I remember I got up and I grabbed the branch and I went to pull it around the electric motor head.
Yeah.
As quick as I could blink, just bang, bang, bang in the exact same hand.
Yeah. Oh,
an inch apart from where I drove the treble in. So this hand, by this stage, I wanted to lop it off. Just see you later. I'll get electric reels from now on. Like, oh, mate, I could not ask for any more pain on one hand in a 20-minute session. Like, and I said, I think I'm just going to sit down and steer the boat, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much more I can grip this handle. I've got no power in it whatsoever. And it just throbbing and swelled up.
Oh, that's crap.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't. You couldn't write a script about it, eh? The next thing that was happening, I was getting bit by a snake, so I had to get off the water. Like, it was just a sequence of bad shit happening.
Yeah.
But bang the fish.
Yeah, still had a good time. But yeah, from what you were saying that morning, bang the fish. We're like, let's do a drift. So yeah, got the tinny ready the next morning. We're on the water. What, by 6?
Yeah.
Or up at like 4:30, getting ready, putting utes in the right place for the drift, and yeah, finally got on the water. Yeah, about that 6 o'clock mark.
Yeah.
But I remember that whole day. We're just, and that's the funny thing at the moment. Those little paper wasps are everywhere on logs.
Yeah.
I remember who we were talking to, Matty Spittles, out on the water, and he had a lure snagged under a log. He went in to grab it, and he got absolutely smashed.
Yeah, we seen him at the boat ramp, and he had all his forehead was all puffed up.
Yeah.
He was ready to go home.
But I haven't seen that in the last couple of months. It's only happened in the last sort of 2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
that those wasps were coming out, and they're everywhere.
Every single branch overhanging the water at the moment has nearly got one.
Yeah, it's nuts. And
it's not like 2 or 3 on a nest. It's 10 or 15. Like they're loaded.
Yeah, I remember on Sunday I snagged up my lure and I had to reach in and grab it because it was actually wedged between like 2 little logs, no hooks in it. It was actually wedged. I remember looking up and there's like a wasp nest like less than a metre from my head, and I was like, oh, please, no.
Stay quiet, stay low.
Yeah, I was just like really carefully trying to pull this lure out.
But we did start that trip off like it was going to be an absolute ball terror on surface as well.
Yeah, that's right. Like within the first, not even 500 metres, we had a boof.
I had a boof on the very first cast.
Yeah, that's right. Very first cast out. Oh, this is going to be a good day.
You come back a second time, missed it again.
Yeah.
And then
don't think we had another one after that.
Nah, shut off completely. I think we fished surface for another hour and a bit. And
yeah, just as that first light was coming on, we're like, I got no confidence in surface. Let's change up quick.
And
it still took a while.
Yeah, it did. Like, it was a fair way down. And we eventually got one, and then we rolled another one over. And
well, probably 2 Ks downriver by the time we hooked on 3 or 4, one after the other really quick.
Yeah, there was a couple very, very close together.
I must admit, I probably did seagull you on one of those.
No, you get that in the big jobs.
Az launches his lure into the back of these weeds and he just gets hooked up and he's got the shits and he's flapping the weeds around trying to pull it out, tug it out. And I was like, he finally drags it out with half the fucking weed bed with it. And I was like, I'll give it a go. It looks like an actually good spot. And as soon as it hit the water, bang.
Yeah. I reckon I got him to come up.
Yeah, for sure. He was looking at what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's funny like that, though, sometimes. Like, the commotion really makes them look.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, the whole thing of, you got to be quiet. You got to put it in the right spot. It's got to be the perfect spot, nice and quiet and everything. And yet, you hit a patch of weed like that, make such a commotion, and then send another lure in there and boof.
Yeah.
As soon as it hits the water.
Yeah, I definitely reckon that noise or shaking shit that's like a lizard trying to get down and close to the water to have a drink or something like that. And they're just going, right, hey, you fucking come near this water and you're my lunch. Like, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah, that's right.
And a lot of times, like if I cast over a stick, I don't just pull it over. I might give it a couple of shakes on the other side of it because they might be thinking it could be a lizard or a bird trying to get onto that branch because it's going to drown. And sometimes it pays off. Like,
oh, for sure. Like, you even see those guys that do teabagging.
Yeah.
They just find a little pocket and they just dip their lure in.
Absolutely.
And bang. I've tried it. I've never hooked up doing it. But how far do you reckon we drifted on Sunday? 14K?
Yeah, I reckon we're close to 14. Oh, probably
12, 14.
I was thinking even more. Yeah,
right.
It was a proper drift.
Yeah, we had a bit of.
And
we were a bit worried there for a little while. We were actually going to go further than we originally intended.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we didn't.
Yeah, I think it already took us 7 hours, 8 hours to get where we needed to go.
Yeah, and we had the boat in gear and moving for a solid 45 minutes to catch up on the ground. So
yeah, because we knew there was a lot of water there. We didn't even want to try it. It was just shallow or stuff we knew it wasn't going to pay off. So we sort of went past probably 2K of it just motoring along.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a little slow going, especially after you'd talked up the morning before.
Yeah, like I was disheartened because I'm like, mate, this is not what I had yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, we had to work. I think, what did we end up with?
I think we ended up with 13 for the total drift. So, average it out, we're looking at fish per kilometre.
Yeah.
Which when you're drifting, you're probably only doing a kilometre and a half, 2Ks an hour.
Yeah. You could say
if that. Probably not even that, because there was probably a good solid half hour that we were motoring along at probably 10Ks an hour. So you average it out, you stuck lures, a few fish, that sort of stuff, you're probably doing about a bit over a K an hour.
Yeah.
Just drifting. But yeah, had to work hard.
Oh, yeah.
Had to work hard.
Like the one before midday, that was a 2-hour dry spell.
Yeah, 2-hour dry spell, then pretty much right on midday you got the biggest fish of the day.
Yeah.
And I remember even saying that morning, I've caught all the big fish in the middle of the day, eh? Me 17 came at 1 o'clock in the arvo, me meter 4 came at fucking
Yeah, I've caught a lot of meteries in the middle of the day, and then no sooner did I say it, fucking...
You cracked a fish and I saw the rod bend, I was like, that's not bad.
I can't even remember how big he was.
He went,
what was it?
80.
Was he 80?
Yeah, he was pretty much bang on 80.
Yeah. I remember it being like, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah, he was a thick fish.
And he was on a slick back.
Yeah, that's right. The slick back, the Outback Angler colour.
And it was really cool the way I caught him too, because it was a willow tree and I threw upstream of it and I let it drift right in underneath it where the shade was. And I remember 3 or 4 cranks of the handle. I spun the unit. I said, I just got fucking whacked. It wasn't about it. And then no quicker than I say that, he come back and I hooked him and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's got some weight. And I remember it was nice and clear. So when he come up, he just looked like an extra long fish. Yeah,
I remember that. And there I was still chucking lures. I'm like, oh, he'll be right. And looked at the fish and I better get the net.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, so it was pretty cool. We did get one good fish for the trip and
yeah, I think I got a 69. No, yours was a 78. That's right. I remember because I got a 69 and you got a 78.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty good day. I mean, 13 fish all up. Most of them are that sort of 50 to 60 model, and then 69, 78. Not bad.
Yeah. You always seem to hover around that 70 to low 70s at the moment, so it's good. But yeah, and then had Grant from Colour Shift Customs come out this week.
Oh, we're missing a little bit of the drift story after that.
Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah.
So we finally get down to the spot we're trying to get to. Drifted in, put in on the bank, and then, put the boat on the top of I got a roof topper, just a little 3-metre roof topper. Put the boat on top of the roof, got it all set up, and this bloke came up behind us trying to launch his boat. Gets bogged. It's like, oh, no.
You just seen it going downhill as soon as he started making his way towards us.
Yeah, he came in a little bit close to the water. And
mind you, Dane's ute was probably, no word of a lie, 4 metres from the water's edge.
Yeah, would have been, it fit the tinny without a metre to the water while we were installing it. So he came up right behind us.
But not just right, like in between the water's line and where we were. And I'm like, fuck, mate, you don't think that's going to be soft?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even do it in a four-wheel drive. And
oh, yeah, well, that's the other thing. We turned around, oh, mate, put him in four-wheel drive. Oh, it's actually a 2-wheel drive Hilux. And I was like, trying to put it in at the river. Look, don't get me wrong. Doing it in 2-wheel drive, it can be done. Like, I haven't had put four-wheel drive in on my ute for a long time to get it in. But pick your spots and don't drive along the water's edge to try and get it in. Just back in like perpendicular to the water. Don't try and drive parallel to it.
That was the thing. Don't be impatient. Like another 4 minutes and we were out of there and it could have been on the grass.
Yep.
But
anyway, looked at him. I said, hey, mate, give us a couple of minutes, tie this boat on and I'll give you a winch out. So drove up, turned around, started winching him out. Pulled him up, got him out, drove away, and I said, there's actually a little bit, probably 200-300 metres down where we usually put the boats in that we'd never need to engage four-wheel drive. Give it a shot. Yeah, no worries. He went on his merry way. Well, we drove back home, or back to my place. You jumped in your ute. I got out, started unpacking the boat and realised, fuck, my fishing licence and my driving licence aren't in my pocket anymore. I put them in there this morning so I didn't have to carry my whole wallet. Fuck. And I was scratching my head trying to think where the hell they've got to. And I went, they must have fallen out of my pocket. Had to fall out of my pocket. So I went back to where we put the boat on top of the ute. And there they were, sitting on the ground, pretty as anything. I went, oh, thank God. Anyway, as I was leaving, old bud flagged me down again, didn't he?
This is great.
He goes, hey, mate, bogged again. I went, oh, no. No worries, mate. I'll come nose down and I'll winch you out. All good. Like, it happens. Happens to the best of us. I mean, felt a little bit bad about telling him go down to that spot because generally it's a lot better. Generally, but I think maybe the last flood it's washed up a bit of sand. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't recommend a two-wheel drive to launch on 80% of the reserves on the Macquarie. Find a boat.
No, yeah, find a boat ram. It's probably the easiest, best option.
Yeah, like imagine if no one was out there.
Yeah, that's right. And there was quite a few cars. Yeah, there's not much service, but there's quite a few cars out there, fortunately. But as I went to nose in and try and winch him out again, guess what? Me winch controller crapped the bed. So I'm just like, sorry, bud, I haven't got anything else and I can't get the winch out. I literally had to just tear it apart this afternoon and resolder it to get it working again.
Yeah.
Because there must have been a wire pulled loose or something.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, no. I'm like, sorry. Yeah. See you later. He's like, I'll just have to call the wife to come pull me out.
Whoopie day.
Yeah, what can you do? So you had a bit of a trip with Grant this week.
Yeah. Grant from Colour Shift Customs. He's been painting a few lures for us. And
yeah, go check him out. We've put him up on Facebook, as has shown so many of his lures, and it is unreal work.
I've spent a lot of money with him, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, is his paint jobs worth it.
Yeah, he's Mickey Mouse.
Most of my cod in the last 3 months have all come on his coloured lures.
Yeah, that Outback Angler colour lure that he's done on a Xeric Slickback, it's not a standard colour.
Yeah.
So if you see that up on the socials, that's a custom colour that Aaron's got done.
But yeah, no, it was a good trip, mate. He is a very handy fisher, Grant. He definitely is.
Yeah, probably a bit more than just handy.
Yeah, he's won a few ABTs but he used to have a lot of major sponsors, but he kind of stepped away from that side of fishing and he's more recreational now and just enjoys it a bit more.
Yeah, painting lures.
Yeah, loves painting lures.
And speaking of painting lures, he has actually painted us up 3 custom lures for the Mental Health Lure Board.
Yes.
3 of 3, and they are unreal. Xeric Slickbacks custom paint.
And there's 1 of 1, 2 of 2, and 3 of 3. So this would be an awesome little collector's thing in the cabinet.
Yeah, for sure. Like this is totally endorsed by us. We might even give away, a stubby holder or a couple of stickers or something with them while we're going.
Absolutely. Yep. So he's put mental health on these lures.
Yep. I was about to say spray painted, but it's not spray paint. Airbrushed.
Yeah, it's all airbrushed.
Yeah,
so,
all airbrushed. He's put like this little airbrush metal looking pluck on the back.
Little
And-
plaque, pretty much.
Yeah, and handwritten mental health, 2 of 3, 2024, 1 of 3, whatever. So, yeah, looking unreal, and you'll probably see him up on the socials at some point.
And Grant, so he's been big supporters of us and what we do, and he's really looked after us. So I thought I'd return the favour and take him to catch his first cod. And never caught cod before, never thrown anything over 20 pound. Like he was brim, bass, stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's caught some stonkers.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
He was showing me photos, 2 kilo brim. I went, what?
A 60 centimetre bass to the fork in a river.
Yeah, and he looked pretty young in that photo. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. He's caught some absolute crackers. Like there's even a video on his socials in an ABT down at Foster, went from 7th to 1st on the last morning with just some
How good is that?
boppers of brim. So really knows his stuff, and it was quite funny.
More a salt and bass sort of fisherman. Never caught cod.
Nah, never even seen one.
Yeah.
So
holding a rod with 50 pound line, 50 pound or 50 pound leader, that would have been a bit new.
So when we originally got out in the water, I've given this bait caster and I've explained it's 50-50, and he was blown out of the water like, why are fish so heavy? And I said, mate, just wait. When you get a fish in the river and he wants to play games, he'll show you what 50 pound feels like 10 pounds. So it was kind of good, and within the first 10 minutes I caught one. And
you seagulled one off him?
No, this was later. And so oh, fuck.
Spit it out.
You got me off guard, son. You keep fucking. Anyway, so I got the first one, and that was his first look at a fish. And
How big was it?
it was only a 55er, like a little fella.
Yeah.
So, he was pretty cool. He really wanted to get some photos of the colour of the cod in real life.
So he can try and paint it.
Paint them.
Yeah, cool.
And, 20 metres later, maybe, I missed one, and then I got another one, and then Grant thought he got a hit. He threw back in there, it didn't come back, and he was like, maybe not. And I threw in there, and I was like, fuck, it just went clunk. I've just taken that fish off you. Yeah. So he was a bit, I was like, fuck, I really put myself on the back burner, and I was like, I really hope he gets another hit here.
Yeah.
And downstream a bit further, he caught a couple of more, and I was like, right. And it was funny, he was making a joke with me. He said, maybe I'm saving myself for a proper one. I said, you're right. Because he said, what's a good one in the river? I said, mate, anything over 70 is normally a nice fish to catch. And we're sitting there casting this beautiful little back eddy behind a log. He said, hey, mate, do they sit down on logs in the middle here in the fast line water? I said, they do, but I don't usually throw at them too much because if they get the right angle, they'll smoke you.
Yeah.
And he was like, really, on 50 pound? No word of a lie. He threw in there. The currents pretty much cranked the lure down for himself and just got absolutely crunched. So he got the full brute force of the current and his fish
and the
hitting
river.
him. And he's popped this fish up, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, yeah, that's good fish.
Solid.
So I've, put it in the net. Mind you, I've had a fuck up. I pulled the handle completely out of the net.
Oh,
I've had to butterfly clap it around the fish. And we're putting in the boat, and it was no good. And
butterfly. Oh, this is your foldable net, is it?
yeah, this is me foldable net. So I'm just
I was like, how the fuck do you butterfly clap a net around a fish? So it folds lengthways.
the
actual
folds
net.
in half like 2 butterfly wings. And
Yeah, right.
we've put this fish in the boat, and he's got a photo of the fish with a lure, and that's the thing. Lure out, I look down its throat, and I see this object.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, that looks nothing like you should see in a cod. Anyway, in closer investigation, I was like, fuck, that looks like a ball. That is a ball.
Okay.
So what I've done is we're just putting in the net just to try and relax and get a bit of water through his gills. And we've just put this video up on our socials. We pulled it out and we've removed this ball from this cod. I couldn't believe it. It was a little handball, and it blew my mind. And Grant was like, my first cod's give me a souvenir.
Yeah, I saw him holding it yesterday.
Yeah.
Like his little trophy.
Yeah, his first cod, like, I think he was going to take, we got at 80, but yeah.
About the 79. Yeah.
we would have measured him at. So, yeah, he was happy and it was good. Like, we got to remove a foreign object out of a fish,
Yeah.
let him kick along and
Yeah.
let someone else have a crack at him when he's 1.5 meter. Like,
Yeah.
so it was a pretty cool experience.
I would love to know if, like, I know fish spew stuff up. Like, you catch them, they're spewing up mice, they're spewing up little fish, bloody yabbies and shit. But when they get, like, you know, those golf balls and little plastic balls, and, like, I've ever seen Murray cod that tried to smack was it a basketball or a soccer ball or something like that?
Yeah, volleyball.
One of the big boys. Yeah. It's like, do they eventually just work out they can't digest it and throw it up?
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like,
'Cause
surely you'd think so.
Well, even thinking about that little rubber, was it hollow, that
Yeah.
rubber ball?
Yeah.
Like, you think about that rubber ball had air in it,
Yeah.
and it was probably the size of his swim bladder.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that changes his swim bladder, like
Yeah,
having
like-
that foreign object in him. I don't know.
whether it
It's
fucks
weird.
them up over a long time or what.
Yeah, but either way, getting it out, that's got to be way better for him than not.
Absolutely. I thought the same. I thought, you know what, it's time. We're going to get this ball out.
Yeah.
We're going to do it as safe as we can. We're going to try and, like, we're looking
Coax
after
it out
fish.
gently.
We made sure he's in the water.
Yeah.
Got him out for the split 50 seconds, got the ball removed, put him back in, give him a swim, and he took off like no
A
shit.
rocket.
So
Yeah.
it was cool. And then, Grant he was like, oh, geez, how much shit do they eat? I said, mate, it
Everything.
never stops. I see water
Everything.
hens, snakes, lizards.
Yeah.
Anything that, like I said, imagine the action of a ball.
Yeah.
It'd be
that's
just
right.
bobbing there, and he
Yep.
ate it.
Yeah. Well, even imagine a little white, like you see so many golf balls in them, little white golf ball traveling down in the current. They're going to look at that and go, dinner,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is unfortunate that they're just that perfect sort of size and shape to do that.
I had to have a laugh about it too, because after that, we're like, fuck, we might have to get a few lures painted up as a basketball.
That's not a bad idea, eh?
Well,
Get a
mate,
Xeric basketball lure.
as long as it don't bounce onto logs, I don't care. So, but yeah, no, it was good, mate. He got his first fish, cracking fish. He caught heaps more.
Awesome.
We had a few double hookups in the end, and he had an absolute ball. And it was good. It was his first taste of throwing some big, heavy gear. He got used to it quick. Obviously, being a skilled angler like he was, he really switched on, going from casting 10 pound on a braid, 10 pound braid on a bait caster to 50 pound. Like he picked it up really good. And then to top it off, he got his first fish on surface as well. So I was like, mate,
You got a
tick some
surface
boxes
fish
today.
on top of a 79.
Yeah,
That's a good trip.
it is.
I don't care who you are. that's a
First cod
good
trip, mate. Yeah, absolutely. So he was chuffed, which was good.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, good on him. I saw a few video of his old boat.
Oh, it's a weapon.
Bro, that is the fastest thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
What was it? 145 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, he gets up 145 kilometres an hour. So it's a 17.8 or 0.9.
17.6.
Was it?
Yeah, 17.6.
With a 250.
Fast boat with a 250. Custom made by him. Like it's custom reinforced in the rear. And
Yeah, he's rebuilt the whole thing.
Yeah.
So absolute
Unreal.
weapon of a boat.
So cool. Such a cool boat. Anyway, so there's a few topics we want to also talk about. First one, night versus morning.
Oh, yes.
You much prefer night.
Fucking oath. Hands
Whereas-
down.
I'm a bit more partial to the morning, to be honest. I like to fish into the light, not away.
Oh, it
from
makes it a lot easier. Yeah, I just like difficult choices. So I like to come home in the dark where you can't see shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it really makes a difference at the end of the day, night or morning. Overall, I think that light change is always going to be the biggest thing. Probably most fishers know that light change is the biggest thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Just makes them a bit
But-
more confident and a bit more ready to come out.
I'll put it this way, and this is my personal opinion. Everyone's got their own about it. So when it comes to morning and afternoon for cod fishing, depends on the time of year for me. So, for instance,
Okay.
winter fishing, as crazy as it is, winter fishing, I do prefer the afternoons because it just warms that water up a little bit more. Seem to be more active fish.
Yeah.
When it comes into summer, I do reckon the cool mornings you raise a lot more fish. So that's
that makes sense.
that's my point.
Yeah. You're trying to fish the better opportunity water, whether it's warmed up or cooled down, depending what you need. Yeah, okay.
Not
that's
so
fair.
much fishing times, it's more fishing water temp.
Yeah.
So-
that kind of makes sense. Like we do chase, especially in dams and stuff, we definitely chase water temp to try and find those active fish.
Absolutely.
So kind of makes sense that it'd work anywhere, whether it be river, dam, whatever.
And I was reversed for a long time. Like, had to be early mornings in winter and you had to be freezing your ass off. But I just found it that I had more success doing it in reverse.
Yeah, gotcha.
Finding that warmer water in the afternoon where the sun's been on it all day. Finding your warm rocks. Like, your last point of sunlight on a rocky bank is going to hold the most heat in the water.
We're going to try
Fishing
and be
that of an
around it.
afternoon when it's starting to chill off. They're still in warm water.
Yeah.
So
Makes
it's
a
just,
lot of sense.
Yeah, stuff like that to me. But yeah, mate, everyone's got their own opinion.
Yeah.
Have you got a different opinion or you?
Oh, I don't really care. I love fishing either way, and I usually always fish around that light change. But
you take your chance at whenever. But
I'm a bit of a morning person, to be honest. I usually wake up a bit after 5 most mornings anyway,
yeah,
and just continuing that routine through the weekend just sort of makes sense to me. Like, alarm goes off at 5, might as well go fishing. I'm not working today. Screw it. But yeah, now that you've said that whole temperature thing, it clicks in my head. But we've also done well in the mornings in winter. Like we had the 280 fish day.
Yep.
That was pretty much in the middle of winter.
Yep. It's a very open field, eh?
It is an open field. I don't think it extremely matters too much night or morning, to be honest, for me. The one thing I've been looking at a bit more recently.
Actually, I wanted to dip into something here, and I reckon you're about to say it, so let's go.
Lunar changes.
Moon phases. And
Moon
lunar
phases.
changes. Yep.
So I watched this cool video recently. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, I don't know what he is, to be honest, but he was explaining how the tides work with the sun and the moon. So obviously the sun and there's one on one side, the moon's on the other side, and the tides don't actually come in and out. The Earth they actually pull the water to either side of the planet and make a bubble almost. So it's like
an oval.
Yeah, it's like an ellipse, not a circle. So it bubbles out either side, and then the Earth actually spins through that gravitational pull. So the water's being pulled out and the Earth spins through that water change.
Exactly.
And that's what makes the effect of the tide coming in and out, which got me sort of, brains ticking over. The two brain cells left are rubbing together, having a bit of a time.
And mind you, like when Dane showed me this, he sure as shit got me fired up to read into it about it. And
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like now I've sort of been looking at that moon rise, moon set, because even if the moon is totally full or totally totally gone, new moon or full moon, it has the same effect on the tides and the gravitational pull of the water.
Exactly.
So it doesn't, like fishing that full moon or fishing that no moon I don't think really matters. It's just the time about when it affects the water you're fishing.
Yes.
And I haven't really found a pattern in it yet. But
oh, mate, I reckon we could study it for 10 years and still
that's the thing. But I think if you fish, just in my head, if you fish a light change along with, say, a moon set or a moon rise, just like a sunset or sunrise at the same time, I don't know, I just feel like that's going to be a combination But also there's a bit of a delay. I know there's a delay about the
obviously,
tide and that
where
sort
you're
of stuff.
placed. Yep.
The moon, because the tide is lagging the moon.
Yep.
So if the moon is rising, that water rise is going to come slightly after.
That's
sort of
right.
thing. Yeah. And I don't know what to think of it. I haven't really made too many correlations with it yet, but it's something I'm going to give a crack at.
Mate, the first thing, when you told me, the first thing that popped into my head is that's exactly why barramundi up north in the dams, in the impoundments, bite with the tide times.
Yeah, they still bite with tide times, which is, that most barramundi fishermen would know. That's when you want those tide changes. That's what you're fishing for.
But the thing that blew me out with that study was it's not just a moon phase that can create these tides. It's also the sun phase.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's no one fishes with the sun phase.
Yeah, we do.
Well,
sunset, sunrise, sun.
Yeah, but like
morning, night.
as in the gravity pull from it. Like,
well, it's still the same. Like, it's the same every day because
exactly. Yeah,
our trigger is the light, whereas the moon is something you don't really think about. It's the unknown effect. Yeah. But the thing I really love about thinking about the moon phases is if you fish a full moon, what's the one thing you have to do when you fish a full moon, Aaron?
Tie lure on.
What's the second thing you have to do when you fish a full moon?
You still fish the shade.
You still fish the shade.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if there's a full moon, you can proper see well in a boat. You can see the shade that the trees are casting on the water, and that's where you fish. You fish that shade.
And fishing the river is a prime example of that. You can be rolling surface out, and he will not touch it if it comes out of that
past
light.
that shade. Yeah. That's what blew my mind the last couple of years of fishing is that full moon fishing, still have to fish the shade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just that little bit of light. There's still a bit.
I've said absolutely a lot this session.
100%.
100%.
Oh, I must say, there's a few boys that have pulled me up about saying that too much. They're like, we're making a drinking game out of this. Yeah. Every time you say 100%, I'm taking a drink.
100% drinking game. Every time we say it, you drink.
100%.
Make sure you're sitting in the shed, not driving.
So, yeah, night and morning, moon phases, light, that sort of stuff. I still haven't ticked it off 100% to figure out what works when. But that's the magic of fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, mate.
And it's one of those things that's not going to deter me. I'm not going to look at something and go, I'm not fishing today, stuff that.
Yeah, and if you got the time, just go.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the thing that annoys me with some people saying, I was going to go fishing the other day, but, something wasn't right. Yeah. I was like, why don't you just go and find out? I just didn't feel right. I didn't really want to go out. And I was just like, no, you went out because you didn't want to go out. It's not because something was off.
And this is exactly why me and Dane get stuck in storms all the time because we like to fish a storm change.
I love a storm change. And that's the other biggest thing, storm change.
Yeah.
Pressure drop. Pressure rise.
I am a proper big fan of pressure. So if the barometric pressure is 1,020 plus, fish are plenty.
Yeah.
1,020 fish are plenty. Stuff like that. So, but that's not really the case. I don't care if it's 1,008, and if it's got a sharp drop or a rise, that's
where I'm hitting. Yeah,
you want to hit those spikes.
Yeah, for sure. Probably the best example of this I can remember is when I was about 16, used to have mates come out to my place. We were playing a bit of music and that sort of stuff back then. And we used to go for a bit of a fish before we'd jam out in the basement. Went down, and just as this storm front was about to hit us, you know how you get those really hot, sticky days, and then it just, wind picks up, it cools off almost automatically. You can feel that storm front coming through.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as that hit us, it went ballistic. We had it was over 10 fish within an hour, and we were just bait fishing off the bank into the river.
Yeah.
I was like, this is nuts.
They absolutely love that.
Yeah, and ever since that change, I was always wanted to fish it, and I've always been trying to fish it, and that's how we get stuck in storms.
Well, here's one for you. This is going back to when I first started getting into tournament fishing vertical with grubs and whatnot and trees. So I found it when the pressure was really high, like I'm talking 1,020 plus. You used to get such a good return on 2D sonar. So, and what I mean by that, when you used to read 2D sonar, it was obviously a cone shape. When your fish come into the beam, it'd start red. If you got a really strong signal, it'd go to yellow and it'd phase back out to red. So that's your boomerang.
Yeah.
That's your boomerang on your
That's
string.
your arch, yeah.
And then if you had a really high day, you would not believe how many bright middle of those arches you'd get, which come down to like the positive return.
Yeah.
So, but you got a really shit day and low barometer, those red dots would nearly, those red lines or your boomerangs, for instance, would nearly stay completely red.
Really?
Absolutely. And I found out later on that this was still while I was using 2D. I had a bloke explain to me and goes, I see the exact thing you're seeing and I put it down to the pressure on their swim bladder. And that gives you your return. And I was like, holy shit, this makes sense. Like,
So you're saying when it's a high pressure, high air pressure,
yep.
it makes their swim bladders more solid.
Yeah, so you get
and you get a
brighter
better return off them. Does that mean their swim bladders are empty?
Yeah, so you look at when you get a low pressure, your clouds are really low. And when you get a high pressure, your clouds are really high. So obviously it's like putting a balloon really low in the water, gets compressed. Put it to the surface, it'll blow back out again.
Yeah.
Following the clouds. So that's what I put it down at. And after all these, I really read into it. And like I started testing it. I was going to Windermere, Burrendong, Burrajuk, and every single dam was the same with the barometric pressure on 2D.
Ah, right.
You can't see it on the new live scopes and
whatever
active
else.
targets. It was only 2D.
Oh, 2D.
Magic.
Huh.
So
Right.
you used to get onto a tree and go, you wouldn't even look at the barometer, eh? You're like, fuck, she's up today. Like,
Yeah, you'd already know straight away. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, right. I never really thought about it that way as well.
I dug very deep into it a long time ago. Probably too deep. I probably dug myself a hole, but
Complicated it too much, thinking about it too much.
we all do. We all overthink stuff in fishing.
Now, I had someone come to me the other day and they said, oh, cod don't really fight that hard. I was like,
Yes and no.
yes and no, mate. Like, what are you running? Oh, 50-50, 50-pound main, 50-pound leader. And I said, that's pretty standard for most river fishing, that sort of stuff, yeah. Yeah, no, all the cod I've sort of found, you just don't fight that hard. I said, okay, go back to 2020 and see, tell me how you go. Oh, well, you're never going to get him out of sticks if you do that, are you? Well, you've answered your own question, mate, haven't you?
Exactly.
Like,
We're there to stop them.
yeah, fish fight as hard as the gear you're going to use on them. If you use light gear, you're going to have a hell of a good time. I caught my first 80 centimetre fish when I was 18 on a 2 to 4 kilo ugly stick running 16 pound. That was a hell of a fight. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was a proper 5+ minute fight trying to get this cod in.
Yeah.
And you hear about these guys fishing for yellows or whatever else using 10 pound, 12 pound, and you're talking 40 minutes, an hour fight. Do you really want that?
No, and it's not good for the fish.
No, you're stressing the fish out. They're going to be tired as all shit swimming around with, almost like a 5 kilo weight hanging out of their gob, pulling them one way or another. Get them in. Because they do give up on 50 pound, I will say that. Like if you hammer them enough out of the sticks, they're going to give up a little bit. Because they know, he's got me, I'm going to give up.
Yeah, they can be lazy, but it also depends on the fish, the environment.
The current.
The current, mate.
If they know they can use that current against you, they will go their hardest.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They know what they're doing, and if they think they've got a chance, they will fucking give you L.
Yeah, that's right.
Like like I said in times gone by, there's been fish in the river that I've hooked and I could not turn, and I'm thinking, what's going to give up? The rod, the reel, me, what? And all of a sudden they go, yeah, I'm done, and they'll come up. But you're not going to pick it. Yeah, every fish is different. And like Dane, look at your fish.
Yeah, most of my big fish have just been
dog shit.
I'm good. I'll come up.
I don't know if they feel fucking sorry for you or what. They might as well swim to the net. Like,
yeah, I've had a bit of a stint lately of a lot of the big fish. They just don't play up. Like my marlin didn't play up. My 93 cod didn't play up. No. Even some of the other big ones.
Boy, this is a good year for you.
This
season.
It's season of me.
Yeah,
no, I've had a cracker season. I'm so happy with how shit's turned out this year. But
I'm just catching numbers. I've got a lot over 80 this year. It's been a great year for that. But boy, am I struggling to find that meatery.
Yeah, that New Year's resolution's starting to turn out a little bit harder. But once it gets colder, and start putting time on the water, you never know.
That's right. I've got to do it. I'm going to really I'm still not giving up yet.
And this guy hates the cold. I know how much you hate the cold.
Yeah, I'm a
so it's going to hurt. Yeah. It's going to hurt. But
if I time it right, look, it can happen in a day.
That's right. It can happen in a day. You never know.
I've seen, I haven't, but me and Corey caught a meatery each within 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it happens.
You never know. One thing that I always do with my leaders is I do a little trick with my leaders for cod fishing.
Hopefully time.
Definitely time tight, time right. But I had a mate walk up to my leader and he's like, oh, why do you tie it the length that you do? So when I tie my leaders for cod, FG knot, always use an FG knot, have never not used an FG knot. It's the best one for your guides, for fishing, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Definitely get on it if you are not on it. FG knot. Look it up on YouTube. So I tie the FG knot to my leader, the leader to me main line, and I reel that knot all the way to the start of my worm drive on my reel.
Yep.
And then I go to the enemy rod and I cut off about a foot and a half. And that means when I tie on a quick clip or a lure, I know when I'm fishing and I reel in and I see that knot at my thumb, that lure is in the right spot for my next cast. It's going to be the same length every single time I cast. That way you're always going to be used to that amount of leader off the end of your rod, same lure, same amount of leader. You're going to get so much more accuracy and just be way more consistent.
Yeah.
So give it a go. That's my leader length tip.
I used to do it with very, very similar, like going to your worm drive or whatnot. But once T-wings and V-islands and all that come out, I actually started going to feel. I wouldn't look. I'd already be looking at my next spot. And as soon as I felt that leader knot roll onto me spool under me thumb, I knew that was time to pull up.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
Yeah, that's right. But it stops you from winding too far and ramming a lure straight into your top end of your top guide.
And that's another key thing with cod fishing as well is your braid has no shock absorbent.
Yeah, that's right.
So having that 6, 7 foot or whatever size
that's
leader.
right. Like for me, I run a 7 foot rod and probably where the reel's sitting's a foot off the butt. So you're looking at 7 foot.
Leader. Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
It just gives you that more, like that first initial hit. It's giving them the shock. It's giving them all the stretch they need. And once that stretch is done, it's going to help drive them hooks in. So when you got a foot leader and you get a proper cod, absolutely want to hammer it, it's got nowhere to give but your braid.
Yeah. Do you prefer to run a soft leader or a hard leader? And believe me or not, there is a difference, a big difference.
There is, well and truly.
Soft leader will stretch a hell of a lot more.
Yep.
Hard leader is just going to be very rigid.
I do prefer a soft leader.
Yeah. Bit more stretch. However,
your abrasion resistance is nowhere near as
not
good.
as abrasion resistant.
Yeah. But that's fine. I'm happy to fish a couple of hours and have to change my leader in the river.
Yeah.
I still want that stretch.
Yeah, you want that little bit of stretch just
Because
to.
if they tow you up in a tree or a log or whatnot, that stretch may just save your trophy fish from getting off.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, definitely want that stretch for me personally.
Yeah. Now, talking about leader length and stuff, cod head-butting lures. Well, actually, I think this talking topic came about from cod actually chasing after a fish you've already hooked. And that cod head-butting that fish, not actually trying to bite it.
Yeah, was this the one at Barnell?
Yeah. So you hooked a yeller in the trees. We're bringing it up, correct?
Yeah, so
And
I done a river trip, upriver from Barndong and chased cod. We ended up getting too little for cod, but yeah, end up chasing yellers in a tree and a cod. I could see him on the live scope. He was underneath it, and I just thought it was another schooled yeller coming up with him. Once I got him to surface, no, he was pushing this yeller with his nose. His mouth was not open.
Yeah, he was just
But was-
head-butting it.
Yeah, proper, just like angry with him, charge him, hit him in the side.
Get out of me spot.
But there was no intention at
I'm
all
trying
to eat him.
Yeah.
He just wanted him to piss off, like
Yeah.
get out of me spot type
Yeah.
of thing. And that like comes back to territorial, like cod
Yeah, that's right.
territorial.
Cod are very, especially during breeding season. If they've got a nest, they're going to be territorial as shit. They're not there to try and eat. They're just
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah, that's exactly it's bang on. Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of like sometimes you hook a fish and it's like totally on the outside of the face or down part of the head or
Yeah.
even in the back or something like that. And you're like, how the hell did that fish get those hooks stuck in there
Yeah.
instead of in his gob? And all I can put it down to is they're trying to chase little fish away out of their spot. Little fish trying to come in, trying to eat eggs or something like that. They're like, get out of here.
Yeah, I reckon it definitely happens where they're not intentionally eating it, they're just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Which I never really thought about much before until you sort of brought it up, and that's made me think like, yeah, no, it's right. Like some fish I've caught haven't actually been,
Like
haven't
when
even
you-
looked like they've tried to eat it.
Yeah, like when you hook them in the top of the head and you know well and truly it wasn't a hit. It was just
Yeah.
like straight to weight.
Yeah.
And once you finish your fight, you question yourself, like, and then you know when a cod wants to eat because they near rip the rod out of the end when they want to.
Yeah.
So it's just a different feeling.
How do you actually thinking about it? Like, we've talked about it before how you'd be retrieving a lure and then it goes slack, like you don't feel your lure for a second.
Yeah,
And you know it's a bump, like you know it's a hit.
Yep.
Do you reckon that's just a headbutt and not an open mouth?
most likely.
Suck?
Yeah.
Like they're just pushing the lure forward. That's why you get slack line.
Yep.
Hey, that makes sense. Has to
Yeah.
make sense. Well, it makes sense in my head. Yeah, so that's just what I think territorial versus like an eating mode for a cod.
Yeah.
At least.
Mate, I definitely reckon there's a territorial thing.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the Barndong trip, no, it wasn't the Barndong trip. It was the Windermere trip 2 weeks ago. But Barndong is the exact same. People are still a little bit shocked, and we're not bullshitting you right now.
No.
We're not telling a long line. There is freshwater jellyfish
Yep.
in both Windermere
Barndong,
and Barndong.
and I've seen them at Barnjack.
There you go. So I first saw them.
Dane called me a liar the first time I told him about freshwater jellyfish, actually.
I thought you were just pulling me
Fucking
leg.
Freshwater jellyfish.
Yeah.
Righto, let's go.
Yep. I thought you were pulling me leg. Freshwater jellyfish. Get out of here. I've never seen one of those. I spent all my life on the river. No, but I went into Barndong Dam. This was probably only 5 years ago, less. And went into the back of this little, there was like a creek feeding into this bay. And just looking around, there was these thousands of these little white things in the water. I had no idea what they were. Got real close, and they were jellyfish. Not very big. Like probably the biggest one's maybe 2 centimeters.
Oh, yeah. I reckon I may have seen them up to probably an inch and a bit.
Okay.
But
yeah.
not very, like,
Yeah.
you've got to look for them.
But they were in their thousands. Proper thousands. I was like,
Yep.
this is crazy. And I think that was during spring. Yeah, spring yellows. Chasing spring yellows up the back of a bay. But did not believe it. But now I've seen them in Windy. I've seen them in Barndong. And you've said you've seen them in Barnjut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're very translucent. They are a clear jellyfish.
Super clear. Yeah.
So pretty much picture your thumbnail as the head. That's as big as they get.
yeah.
And yeah, if you honestly have a look, you don't see them everywhere and you don't see them every day, but they are definitely
No,
there.
I've only
and you
ever
get them
seen
in
them
blankets.
sort of one time a year, really, around that springtime.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we seen them 3 weeks ago at Windermere.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was quite funny because I had my misso's cousin on the boat.
Yeah.
I said, have you seen the freshwater jellyfish? And he near fell over. He's like, what do you mean? I said, have a look in the water just here. And he's like, holy shit. And there was probably a little, I guess you could say a school, just
Yeah.
a couple inches under the surface. And
Yeah.
He's like, do they hurt? And I said, mate, I tested it one day. I grabbed one with my hand. And
You're more game than I am.
mate, they do not. I couldn't feel a thing.
Nah. Well, I don't know.
Their
They
little
probably don't have
tentacles
stingers or
wouldn't even
something.
be 5-10 mil long. Like they're not.
Well, they're probably, I don't know, they probably just eat algae in the water. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably where they're in spring when the algae blooms are starting to come up and that sort of stuff. I don't know.
Too bad if they're like a family member of the like box jellyfish or something. I just grabbed all of her.
Stink.
The first one I ever seen was going back. I didn't have a license, and we're over at Windermere.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin Corey were fishing right up in Limestone and found one. And mate, we thought we were going to be like the boy who cried wolf. I was like, holy shit! So we scavenged through this boat, and we found it half a Chinese container that we had yabbies in it. We flicked the yabbies, like,
Yeah.
see you later,
See
mate.
ya.
And we like just gently put it in the water, and we got this jellyfish, and we put it in this container. And we went up to the kiosk, and we said, "Have you ever seen a freshwater jellyfish?" Now this was the park owner
Yeah.
before Mark and Deirdre at the moment,
Yeah.
and they were like, "That did not come from me." I'm like, "It did. We found up in Limestone," and they left it on that counter. It survived for like months.
Wow.
Like 3 months later, we went back and it was still there, still alive in a container that hadn't had its water changed.
Oh, dear.
And then, eventually, obviously carked it or something because they got rid of it. But then after that, we started noticing them a lot more and getting thicker. And then, like you said, they go in waves. You won't see them for 8 months, and then all of a sudden,
They're back.
they're there.
Yeah. It's just weird to think about how they're, like, how does that even happen?
Yeah. Well, if you actually look it up, they do exist in Australia as a freshwater jellyfish found in impoundments. I looked it up instantly after I seen them.
Yeah. I wonder if fish eat them.
Oh, you surely.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, there's
Another
good.
food source, I guess.
I don't know if there's much nutrients in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Might just glob of protein floating around.
We might have to, next time we see one, scoop one up.
Yeah, scoop one up and get a photo of it and show you.
Yeah.
But,
Instead of sounding like a long line.
yeah, Google it. Now, the other thing you've stumbled across recently from the States, actually, before we go into that topic, MLF.
Major League Fishing.
That is looking exciting. Very exciting.
Yep.
What is it? Australia is the 17th country to sign on with MLF, and it's going to come to Australia this year, next year. Can't remember.
I think they were talking about this year, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. But that's a big step for Australian tournament fishing scene.
Absolutely.
Huge step.
Yeah. What were they talking for first place? Like the grand final win and stuff. It was ridiculously good money.
I thought it was 6 figures, but I could be be wrong there.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I'm going to put it out there. I seen 200,000.
Yeah, I saw 200,000 in the post, and I was like, I don't know if that's the winning team or if what the hell that is.
Yeah.
But
being Major League Fishing, it's probably singles.
Oh,
It won't be teams.
single
It'll
anglers.
be single anglers.
Ah, right. I thought I read in the post it said teams, but
It could be. We're going out on a proper limb here. We probably should look it up while we're talking.
I might Google it just in case. But that is such a step forward for Australian anglers. Like, you can think about the people that have come from Australia that have gone over to America to fish.
Very few.
Very few. But what tournaments have they come from?
Yeah, like ABT used to do it. We've had a few people fish for Australia over there. Mitchy Cone, Peter Phelps, stuff like that. Obviously, Carl, he's still doing Australia Proud over there. But, yeah, it's more of a gateway, I think, to really get into the tournament scene, if you're into that. But, like, I don't think it's for everyone. That's for sure.
No. Do you reckon it'll be invitational?
I reckon so. Or you've got to win like an ABT or something like that here in Australia to qualify for the MLF.
Yeah, possibly.
That's what I'm guessing.
Could be. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it unfolds and how it sort of changes not just the Australian fishing, but the way the world looks at Australian fishermen.
Yeah.
Like there's been obviously Carl Jocumsen and 10 pound Tommy.
10 pound Tommy. Tommy Wood.
Tommy Wood. So he went over for one comp?
Yeah.
And he gets nicknamed 10 pound Tommy.
Yeah. 10 pound Tommy. Yeah.
Right, I've just pulled it up. So the top pro award at the Toyota Series Championship is $200,000, along with an invitation to Red Crest 2025, the MLS Bass Pro Tour Championship, and an additional $35,000 Phoenix MLF bonus for qualified anglers. The Top Strike King Co-Angler Award is a new Phoenix 518 Pro bass boat with a 115 outboard. The highest fishing pro from the Invitational... Yeah, it isn't. Sorry, I misread that. International division. Toyota Series Championship will also be awarded a $10,000 bonus as well as the qualification into the MLF Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. So I'm not sure you win. Just looking at that, they're saying $200,000 for the big tournament overseas if you win it. But I don't think the prize money's that much if you win in Australia.
I can't see it being that.
It's just a chance to go over and fish for that much money.
Look at it this way. In Australia, fishing is still known as a recreation, not a sport.
Yeah.
So I cannot see it being $200,000. I definitely agree with you that that's the money over there.
Yeah.
But it'd be pretty cool to win a 18-foot bass boat with a 115 on the back of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is really cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that sort of evolves the Australian tournament scene.
And they're obviously talking American dollars because for $35,000 here in Australia,
you're not getting a bass boat for $35,000. No way.
Not a chance.
It might be that much to import it back into Australia if you win it. But talking about tournament talk, tournament tackle trays.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the boys on socials all over in the States, obviously.
Like Brian Latimer.
Yeah.
Any other pro anglers you've seen from over there talk about it?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
There's been a few. Brian Latimer.
5.
Yeah, can't remember who else. But
they were talking... Okay, so when you tackle prep, do you just tackle prep for a fish for the season?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
you go, cod, that's my cod box for the cod opening to cod close.
Yes and no. I mean, I've got a river box, I've got a dam box, and they don't really change that much. I'll swap some lures in and out as I figure out if I like them or not.
Absolutely.
So I'll have maybe 2 cod boxes on the run, and I'll have sort of 2 or 3 yellow belly boxes on the run, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's my year.
Well, these guys aren't just talking seasons, autumn, winter, spring, whatever. They're talking, they are now doing a tackle tray dedicated per month for the whole 12 months. So one per month, depending on the season. So they can have up to 3 different boxes just for spring, and completely different.
Huh.
Like I wish I was rich enough to do it, but I ain't. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty unreal to try and think about. You know, these guys, they're getting, and this is probably something to talk about with how America has evolved their fishing, and you have to be so specific.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just talking about just using jerk baits. They're like,
No.
I use this particular brand in this particular size and this particular color just in this impoundment.
Yep.
And then I'll have a box that revolves around that color, that size, that type. So, you know, jerk bait season comes around.
Yep.
They've got a box of jerk baits, similar brand, similar size, similar color, similar depth, or a few different depth ranges depending where they're trying to attack.
Yep.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
Coming from us who go out there, and I don't know how you go, I'd sort of generally try and pick the time of year, whether is it going to be like a soft fire bite or a lipless crankbait bite or soft plastic bite.
It's that I'll run you through a few things that I've seen from the boys over there. So there was a jig one and a crankbait one that I've seen, and it was insane. So like they were talking about the month where crankbaits really fire up. They go, righto, but crankbaits in a 1 to 3 foot range.
Yeah.
On week 3 of that tackle box, they're up to 2 to 6 foot range. Doesn't change much, and then they slide it out.
Right.
And they go, right, and then we go from a crankbait to a jerkbait.
Yeah.
And we go from a shallow jerkbait to a deep jerkbait.
Yeah.
Then we go to a lipless crankbait to a it was a proper pattern.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I've never even thought about drawing the map like that.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose we naturally do it just watching the fish progress from shallow to deep or that sort of thing. We sort of naturally target. We're still going to try and find the fish and target it in the depth and temperature of the water and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But laying it out like that, like having a box of 2 to 6 foots in this particular colour and size and shape and going, that's my box.
Like there was one guy throwing Alabama rigs, and over the 9 weeks or whatever where the gudgeons obviously spawn over there, he was saying there was 11 different size Alabama rigs he throws.
Wow.
Due to the fact of the bait size growing. So he'll start off when they're very first, they're fries, they're tiny. He's throwing this little 4-inch micro looking thing. It's an Alabama rig, but it's fucking 5 inches in total.
Yeah.
And by the time he gets to the end of his 9 weeks or whatever, he's now using a full-size Alabama rig with 4-inch plastics on it. I was like, holy shit.
Hats off.
Yeah, like
holy moly.
Who follows the bait that well?
Yeah.
That you can go, right, I need to keep changing, keep going bigger and bigger and bigger until the season's there. Like,
yeah, that's nuts. That is nuts, proper nuts.
I'm not getting that crazy.
No, but I suppose over there, like you can think about between the tournament anglers and recreational anglers, they probably need to go to that detail just to, because it's probably way more pressured over there than it is here.
Yeah, that's right.
They probably need to go to that detail, and if they're pros, just get bites.
Yeah.
Or get the bites that they want. Yeah. No, it's crazy to think about. It really is. Well, mate, I think we've chatted enough shit for one day.
Yeah, we've covered a few topics and tipped a few back and had a good chat. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. And just remember, go check out our socials, give us a like, subscribe, whatever. We got the mental health lure boards running pretty steadily, either if it's not every week, every second week sort of thing.
And once again, we hit $5,000.
Yeah.
Last episode.
Please didn't even talk about that.
No, absolutely.
Hit $5,000 donations last week to mental health from the lure board auctions.
Yep.
So proud.
Hats off.
So proud to everyone that's donated lures or bought lures on the auction. Mate, we're doing a cracking job.
Absolutely. I love seeing the light spread on the fishos for mental health. Like, we all get out there to forget our problems. So
Yeah, for sure. That's right. It's more than just chucking a hook in the water.
that's it. Righto, guys. Thanks for that.
And we'll catch you another time.
We'll do. See you guys.
Bye.